I'm now leaving New Zealand after a year down here. My mom had told me the last couple of times I video chat with her that I have a closet full of clothes at home, so I of course left some clothes in New Zealand. Because of COVID, I was only allowed to bring a laptop, briefcase or baby items in the carry-on bag. But I stretched it a bit and said electronics, so I could get my camera with me. Other things I had in my carry-on was power bank and of course my never going without hand sanitizer. And I also had a face mask because we had to wear the face mask throughout the whole flight. I'm now ready to go. The airport in Auckland was pretty empty. I think the flight I was going with was the only flight going out of Auckland that day. It also made it pretty easy to keep 2 meters away from everybody else. There was no line at all at security. All the shops was of course closed due to COVID, so it was kinda like walking in a ghost airport. Because there wasn't anything to do in the airport, I just went to the gate straight away, with a quick stop at the toilet. I barely met any people on my way to the gate. I would imagine that the airport normally was filled with people, but that only made it easier for everybody to keep the social distancing. This flying experience is so different from my flight down here. I did a lot of hand sanitizing on this flight, more than I even recorded. So therefore, I have made a little calculation in the corner so you can see whereabouts how many times I hand sanitized my hands on the way back home. Just getting a bit to drink and eat before the flight. And once again, time for hand sanitizing. Woohoo! I have also speeded up the clips just to make it a bit faster. It is now time to board, so face mask on and I'm ready to go. I wasn't really looking forward to go home because I've had such a good time in New Zealand and I didn't feel like I was done with seeing everything you could see. The last couple of months with COVID just made me realize there was so much more I wanted to see and do down here that I didn't have time for. They made sure we kept the social distancing. They also gave us this travel hygiene kit where there was face mask, gloves and hand sanitizer in, and we had to wear the face mask throughout the whole flight. The plane is flying and I'm now on my way back home. I got food on the plane, this little cake, some salad and some rice. And before I could eat I had to remove my face mask, which meant even more hand sanitizing. Yay! When I got the mask off, I didn't know where to put it, so I tried a couple of different things. I put it on the ear, which didn't work. Then I tried to put the face mask underneath my chin. Recently I found out that you shouldn't do that because bacteria from your chin can get into the face mask. So at last I put it in the travel hygiene kit so I could start eating. The food was actually pretty good, and it was so nice to finally get something to eat. Almost at the first stop, where we just stopped for 1 hour to get fuel on the flight, and we weren't allowed to go out because of COVID. Soon after we got into the air after the transit, it was time for dinner. That also meant even more hand sanitizing to get those bacteria off. Can you see the relief in my face to get off the face mask? It's not super fun to wear a face mask for that long, so I remembered to eat slow. This is me getting ready to sleep with a face mask and an eye mask on, all covered up. And guess what? I woke up to even more hand sanitizing, so I could get my face mask off and eat breakfast. For breakfast there was yogurt, fruit, eggs and beans. And I got my juice that I really enjoyed. Night view over Dubai. And I'm really tired of traveling at this point. Landing in Dubai. This is me celebrating that I'm done with the 14-hour flight. Again, some hand sanitizing before I get out of the plane, but this time I had to put on gloves as well, because in Dubai airport you have to wear gloves and a face mask, ready to avoid germs. I can tell you, it's super nice to walk out of the plane into 36 Celsius degrees with gloves on. You don't get sweaty hands at all. No. No. I promise I disposed this toothbrush correct. I spent just under 4 hours in these chairs that also kept the social distance. There was a lot more people in Dubai's airport compared to Auckland's airport, but people were genuinely really good at keeping the social distancing with listening to the signs on the floor and on the chair. I'm finally going on board on my last flight to Denmark, where I'm really looking forward to get off these gloves. This flight was pretty empty compared to the flight from Auckland to Dubai. I guess not many people are going to Denmark this time around. There was this cute little baby on the plane that did not cry at all on the way home. The stewardess had both face masks, a shield that protects their face, and they had a disposable apron on. Only 6 hours before I'm home, which is right there. Just a Dane eating a Danish. As you can see, it's pretty empty. But I also had 4 seats for myself, which meant I was laying down to sleep. About half an hour before we landed in Denmark, I started crying because I just wasn't ready to leave New Zealand, and now I was almost in Denmark and my trip to New Zealand would soon be like over for real. So that just hit me, and I just started thinking of all the good memories I've made. So much has changed over the year I've been in New Zealand. Like, I've changed a lot, but also the world. It's not the same Denmark I come home to as the one I left, and it's not the same New Zealand I left as when I arrived. It just put everything in perspective. It have also made me realize how grateful I am for having gotten to New Zealand for a year and got to experience and explore New Zealand before they went into lockdown. And I'm so happy and grateful for all the friends and all the adventures I've gotten down here. So it's been really hard to say goodbye to New Zealand. But oh my god, it felt so good hugging my family again, especially when you had spent a whole lockdown away from them and couldn't get those hugs when you needed it. Because I flew from New Zealand to Denmark, I didn't need to go in quarantine because New Zealand are doing really well with COVID at the moment. But I decided to get tested anyways, just to be 100% sure. I can't explain how good it felt to get that face mask off after you've been traveling with it for over 26 hours. Finally, back home after a long day of traveling and a year away from home. Everything in the household seemed pretty much the same as when I left. Thank you for everybody that's been with me on this journey in New Zealand that I've met or have followed me from Denmark. It's been truly amazing. I must say, I have missed my bed.